Hello, I'm the Eternal Newbie. The extra L is for lacking, as in our first story today is lacking an out-and-out hero. That's because while the person betrayed as the villain is indeed a terrible person, OP isn't exactly a paragon of virtue himself. This is also one of the stories where there seems to be a few pieces of the puzzle missing, but maybe that's just me. I'd love to hear what you think about this one. So please, after you've seen the story, leave me a comment telling me what you think. The second story today has no such illusion. We know who the bad guy is and, yeah, it's the DM. Let's get to it. 2 years ago, we got into playing D&D. I mentioned it to a nerdy friend of ours, and turns out he is a longtime DM. Still waters are deep, I guess. Anyway, long story short, he set up a session 0 to teach us the basic rules about D&D. We all created characters, and a few days later, we started our first session. We were 5 players: Ranger, Rogue, Paladin, Fighter, and our problem player, Wizard. Problem number 1 is that, first of all, Rogue and I can't stand her for personal out-of-character reasons. Problem number 2 is that we can't say anything about her BS because she is related to our DM and also in a relationship with Fighter. Out of character. In-game problems started immediately in the first session when the party entered a dungeon and my friend Rogue spotted a small hole in the wall through a perception check where he could only fit through. Halfling. When he entered, he encountered a weak skeleton protecting a small pouch of gold. He beat it fair and square and earned his pouch of gold. When he came back, he decided not to tell us about the gold he found because his character's main motivation is getting rich by any means and not sharing a dime if not necessary. Our wizard, however, didn't believe that he found nothing, and when Rogue told her that he didn't find anything, Wizard told him that his gold pouch looked bigger than 5 minutes ago. Wizard's main trait is that she doesn't care about money, only knowledge, by the way. She even got our DM to allow an investigation check on his pouch after complaining about it for 2 or 3 minutes. Rogue passed the check. Wizard wasn't happy with Rogue passing her check, so she prompted him to let her count his gold, to check if it had increased. Rogue told her out of character to stop. After giving a few angry looks towards him, she eventually stopped. A few sessions later, the party had come to a crevasse with a broken bridge. It was in jumping distance, so everyone had to pass an athletics check. Everyone passed, but Rogue, when he tumbled down the crevice. Wizard had a smug look on her face, and she tried to persuade the group to move on without him since he probably died. Rogue, however, survived the fall and found a treasure chest at the bottom. When Wizard heard about Rogue finding a treasure chest, the smug look on her face vanished and turned into an upside-down frown. What? A smile? Oh, I think OP means an upside-down frown. You know, a frown. She instantly started to complain about Rogue always finding treasure and how it's unfair that he always finds something. Furthermore, she always complained that her character always missed her spell attacks and her spell save DC was too low. We checked her character sheet via D&D Beyond and saw that her wizard had the most points in their wisdom stat. In the next session, we told her that the wizard had the most points in the wrong stat category for a wizard. She immediately got defensive and started blaming us for not helping her allocate her stats right. We tried helping her before, but our good intentions were blocked with the reason that she knew what she was doing. Until next session, Wizard magically had her wisdom and intelligence stats swapped, so our attempt to help her wasn't useless after all. About a year and a half later, and a few minor things that are not worth mentioning happening, there was a little bit annoying, mostly not RPing correctly, or just metagaming and some unnecessary comments. She tried DMing herself for the first time. With a little bit of help from us and our DM, which was now a PC in the campaign, Wizard started her pirate-themed campaign. She took inspiration from mostly Disney movies, Pirates of the Caribbean, but the main point of this section is that she was really annoyed at Ranger, me, and Fighter, boyfriend, who now both played monks. Since she couldn't target her boyfriend, she targeted me. She was really annoyed at us both for always giving her damage the middle finger by deflecting and redirecting her attacks back to the sender. Monk level 3 class feature. You see, this is why you don't play with your enemies. Or people who metagame. And especially not with enemies who metagame. Wizard is totally metagaming. That's the only way she'd know if the rogue found anything, and she should be called out for that. Seeing as how the DM isn't doing it, Rogue had to. Now, it's been a long time since I made my first character. I'm pretty sure the player's handbook specifically says what attribute to focus on for each class. And even if you don't understand that, you know how it says intelligence for wizard, so you put everything into intelligence. You can always ask. So wizard has no one to blame there but herself for ignoring intelligence. OP joining the game wizard is DMing, however, that's on OP. Because you just know she's going to try and screw him somehow. I'll say it again. Don't play with your enemies, especially if they're the DM. That's just asking for trouble. In an upcoming encounter, we were attacked by a handful of random low-level pirates. We were level 4, so nothing crazy to expect. Turns out I was in for a rough ride. Fight was going smoothly until she got increasingly upset about me and her boyfriend deflecting and redirecting her attacks. In the next turns, I got targeted by one of the pirates who beforehand could only shoot their pistol or swing their saber as an attack action. When suddenly the remaining 3 pirates started shooting their pistols, running up to me, and swinging their sabers as one action. I thought their turn was over when she told me to roll a DC 19 Wisdom saving throw, which I passed with a nat 20, which enraged her even further. In the next turn, my party continued their turns as normal, dealing damage that should kill any squishy enemy, because we were always focusing on the one casting spells, which we all knew was BS because WTF is this action economy. When it was the pirates' turn again, those who were still alive by pure miracle, she wanted me to roll another ridiculously hard save for our level. That's when I snapped at her and told her these stats and attacks are ridiculous for a level 4 encounter and that I want to see the pirate stat block. That's when the big crash out happened. She told us, while screaming at me, that what we were doing with our redirecting and deflecting was ruining her campaign and that we were not making it fun for our party members and her. With a quick and confused look around the table, no one except her seemed to have a problem with this feature. She threatened that if I don't stop deflecting her attacks, she'd leave and never continue her campaign. Oh, don't threaten me with a good time, lady. After me explaining to her that this is a core feature of my class, she reluctantly continued her campaign. Combat continued, but I was still heavily targeted. When suddenly she tried something similar to before again, her boyfriend stepped in and called her out with the sentence, "So we're doing what we want right now, huh?" This became an instant insider joke between me and Rogue, still quoting it to this day. This was the last session of her campaign. Till now, it lies on ice till this day. A few months later, our old DM invited us to start a new campaign led by him. We were very excited because we had only played shorter campaigns or one-shots up until that day. We were really excited about the setting because it would be our first ever Evil PC campaign. We made our characters and started playing. A few sessions in, we encountered 2 gold dragons, young gold dragons. At first, we tried to reason with them and discuss strategy if those 2 dragons could become a problem in the near future. The dragons said that they would keep an eye on us, which to me, Rogue, now playing the new Gunslinger class, and a new player, Life Domain Cleric, who joined us for this campaign, set off alarm bells. While the other players were in discussion with the dragons, I saw an opportunity and started unloading my guns, which was completely in character and no problem for almost all the other players since my alignment is chaotic evil and the campaign is heavily roleplay driven. Combat started, and since we, Gunslinger, Cleric, the other Gunslinger, and her boyfriend, who was playing a rogue, were pretty advanced players, we started combat with a tactical positioning of our characters. Only her boyfriend couldn't reposition because he was standing right in front of both of them to not trigger an opportunity attack, so he had to sit it out. Which he instantly regretted because in the first turn, both dragons used their breath attack and downed him and Wizard. Our cleric was hesitant to revive them because only I was damaged from the claw attacks they hit on me. He wanted both gunslingers to put out heavy damage to deal with both dragons. He hesitated because he needed to touch them to revive them and would end up in the same bad spot Wizard and Rogue did, so he was better off healing me. Sadly, both of them failed all their death saves. First Rogue, and Wizard followed directly after him with a nat 1, which granted her 2 death save fails, and she died on the spot. After a brutal fight, we managed to come out on top and defeat both dragons, who took about 1 hour of intensive combat to do. I get that it's my fault her character dying, but at this point, I really could care less because in all of our time playing, she hasn't died once. Constantly positioning herself at the rear of the group in combat to avoid any danger she could get herself in. Since their characters were dead and they hadn't prepared a backup character, they couldn't rejoin now, but our DM was nice enough to hand them out character sheets for 2 NPCs to play for the little time we had left in our session. As soon as she and her boyfriend got their characters, she immediately started to antagonize us, even describing her character's appearance, Black Dwarf Kingsgod, as the N-word multiple times. She provoked in character that she is way stronger than us, and we could never beat her in a fight. This was never even indicated by us, and also the level difference was enormous. Our characters were level 12, and their characters were level 4. Ugh. I was all ready to jump on OP for playing Chaotic Evil as Chaotic Stupid. Even for getting mad at the wizard for wanting to avoid melee combat. You know, as most wizards do. Maybe even defend wizard a little bit. But then she had to go and pull out the N-word. Now, I have no idea what wizard's race is, so maybe it's something she can say. But, seeing as how it was brought up, I doubt it. Now is when you kick her. Which probably won't happen, what with her being related to the DM. So now is when you quit. A simple, I don't play with racists, is a good enough response when asked why. Based on the way this is written, I'm reasonably sure OP is not American, and the N-word is probably looked at differently wherever they are than it is here in the States. But I don't see that as an acceptable excuse, as if you know about the word, you most likely know about the context and how it's used. Eventually, we got fed up with her behavior and playing her NPC like this that we as a group decided to just end the session with killing them both. Since they were onto us for killing the dragon, so it was totally in character for us to kill them to cover our tracks. Those characters wouldn't really matter because they were not relevant to the plot, and both of them would return to their own PCs the next session anyways. Her boyfriend took it really well and laughed about it when we ended combat with a 360 no-scope headshot to her head and his head. While in combat, she always said something along the lines of, "Can we get this over with already? This is so stupid and unnecessary." The next session, Wizard returned as a ranger who filled in all the stereotypes of an edgy, loner, depressed character stereotype. We were all in our mid-20s and definitely too old to be making characters like this. Her introduction went like this. We found a withered down cabin in the woods where her character lives. We thought since it was near or next to a big town, it would be a good place to plan and execute our evil operation, continuing our evil cult and recruiting cultists. We knocked on the door and an elf answered the door, telling us to leave her alone and get off her property. Sadly, we had to bend our role-playing to let her enter our party because otherwise, our characters would have just killed the resident and taken the place over and started our operation. She made it very difficult with her character stereotype and its behavior to keep the role-playing flow going, which we would have preferred, but at this point, it is what it is, and we learned to put up with all her usual BS. She blocked every attempt at us to convince her to join our group, but eventually, she reluctantly joined the party, what felt really unnatural and broke the immersion of the setting and vibe that our DM established across the last handful of sessions. This is the point on where we left off currently, but here's a short bonus. When we were having a combat in the before-mentioned city, she bragged about having the most hit points of all of us. Party's currently level 12. After the last session, we looked through all the characters in the Fellowship and couldn't resist the urge to take a peek at her character sheet. And that's when things got interesting. At level 12 with a constitution of 17 and the tough feat, she had a whopping 160 max XP, which was a lot for a ranger with a D10 hit die. My autism got the better of me and built the exact same character as she did from the ground up brick by brick. She had the tough feat 2 times, One from her background, farmer, and she took it once she had an ASI level again. Not sure if those stack, but by my research, they don't stack. I came to the conclusion that her max hit points could only come up to a maximum of 136 with the tough feat at level 12. But please correct me if I am wrong about this. She currently has 0 magic items as well, so no increase from that. This leads us to believe she must have overwritten her max HP to 160 points. We still enjoy playing D&D, but we believe we'd enjoy it more without this person and their behavior. Do you guys think we are overreacting, or do you guys have similar experiences in this regard? Do you have any tips on how to handle a person that behaves this way? Quick math. Level 12 Ranger with 17 con plus 3 and the tough feat could technically have, say, 180 hit points if they happen to roll max every single time. The odds of rolling a 10 on a D10 11 times in a row is not something I'm going to calculate, but wow, not going to happen. As for OP, all I can say is when you go looking for trouble, odds are you're going to find it. OP wasn't just looking for trouble, he created it. Not that Wizard/Ranger is innocent, far from it. She's a metagaming cheater. OP probably knew this coming in and still decided to play the game. Say it with me, kids. No D&D is better than bad D&D. And any table Wizard/Ranger is at is going to be bad D&D. Okay, I was planning on ending it here, but I don't want to end with this story. It's too depressing. Let's do one more short story to cleanse our palate. So, a little bit of context. Our party has a lot of inspiration from third-party mediums. Think movies, show, etc. Our DM has always openly said, quote, "My entire job is to try and kill you," and won't give any room for character-to-character roleplay or creative solutions. Anyways, back to my rant. During a game where some of our players couldn't attend, he thought it'd be a fun idea to run a side quest, which started out alright and fun. Getting paid out for this massive quest we spent almost a half a year of in real life time doing. However, mid-fight, he decided it would be fun to corrupt my character and then have me fight against my party members for 3 turns. Which is alright until someone cast Dispel Magic to lift this corruption from my character. Instead, my DM decided that this was a good moment to use that spell to completely wipe my character's mind from existence. I was playing a Warforged. His reasoning: it's like wiping a hard drive. I mean, fair. Sure. Whatever. Only to come back later and say, I've done some more reading on the spell, and that's not how the spell works, so oops. Basically, I died for no reason. Now, because of conflicting scheduling and group activities, we haven't had much time to play for 4 weeks now, during which time I've thought of and fleshed out a couple of characters, and every single one is being shot down for one reason or another. From, this is literally X character, to, when I wanted to do a spin on the existing old man trope, evil characters are banned. When I wanted to try something new with a chaotic good sorcerer, while we literally had someone play the Son of Death in our campaign. And it's come to the point where I made human a human fighter with no personality, no backstory, just a Russian accent, which will undoubtedly be denied for being unoriginal. Newsflash, OP, your DM is terrible. You don't really have to say anything other than, my entire job is to try and kill you, to get that point across, though I'm glad you did. That DM is horrible and you are much better off not playing with them, which it seems is going to be very easy seeing as how they won't approve a character for you. I have a suggestion. Make your next character the DM. Like, have your PC have the same likes and dislikes, and especially the whole killer DM mentality. Sure, it'll probably get rejected, but how much fun would that be? Your DM basically rejects himself. Okay, enough from me. What do you think? How would you handle either of these situations? Would you quit, or come up with something more cunning and possibly evil? I would love to hear it in comment form. Likes are always appreciated, as are subs. In any case, thank you so much for watching, and as always, play your character. Don't let your character play you.